Yo, what's going on, guys? Welcome back to the channel. It's been a hot minute since I last uploaded. I'm finally back though. I'm finally got a brand new video that I'm excited to dive into. So before we get into this video, I want to quickly just say there's going to be spoilers for every single mainline Yakuza game. So that's Yakuza 0 all the way through to Infinite Wealth. That's also including Lost Judgment and Judgment. Because yeah, I'm going to be counting Yagami in this list. Now, before I carry on, I want to say I have not completed the Kaito files yet. I'm only on chapter 2, so I didn't feel like it'd be fair for me to rank Kaito on this tier list. But I will give my opinion on where I do think Kaito would rank once we've completed this entire video. But I want to also say these are only my own opinions, so this isn't factual or anything. These are my own opinions on how strong these characters are from what I've been able to see from the game. So this is my own way. This is how I perceive these characters, if that makes sense. And obviously you're entitled to believe that, you know, Ichiban is the weakest protagonist, or if he's the strongest protagonist, or if, you know, Tanamori outranks Saejima in, you know, strength and overall combat and stuff like that. That's all down to your own opinion and stuff like that. So yeah, but without further ado, let's get right into the video. The first character taking the spot as the weakest protagonist is Ichiban's Kasuga. Now, this might be surprising for a lot of people, but hear me out, okay? Ichiban just doesn't have any notable feats that really make him stand out compared to the other protagonists in the series. Furthermore, it doesn't really help that his feats are also achieved with a party of 5 to 7 people. And yes, I know it might be unfair to compare him to those characters since his games are turn-based rather than the beat-em-up gameplay style. But even so, Ichiban just doesn't have much going for him. For example, both of Ichiban's final protagonists for both 7 and 8 are just, in my opinion, whatever. You know, Tendo is just a boxer, and sure, it isn't actually Tendo fighting, it's actually Clayface posing as Tendo, but even still, it's just a dude throwing regular ass boxing moves with brass knuckles. And as for Infinite Wealth, his final antagonist is Bryce Fairchild, which is literally a 100-year-old fucking old man, dude, like some fucking 100-year-old Jeffrey Epstein cult leader, you know what I'm saying? And Ichiban still gets his ass beat. I mean, like, sure, he still beats the dude, but like his face is all battered and bruised, and sure, he has, you know, 2 guns and he has 2 security guards, and Ichiban and his crew had to, you know, try get through the whole island and shit like that. But even still, I feel like when a 100-year-old Bryce Fairchild should not be able to put up a fight against Ichiban and his party in Infinite Wealth, you know, which consists of an ex-cop, a fucking assassin, you know, an assassin for the biggest Korean crime organization debatably in Japan. Also, if we're comparing to the other protagonists, he's also fought against Saejima, Majima, and the big man himself, Judgment Kazi. Both Saejima and Majima single-handedly beat Ichiban in his entire squad without any effort, with them even stating that they weren't even going all out yet. And as for the Uncle Kaz fight, Ichiban got literally sent to the gulag instantaneously. So in conclusion, Ichiban is the weakest protagonist in my honest opinion. And I know this is going to hurt a lot of people because, you know, Ichiban is a fan favorite character, but genuinely I just don't see him be able to outrank any of the characters growing up. And that's just my honest opinion. If you disagree, then you disagree, let me know down below. But let's move on to the next character.
Wait, hold on. This port thing is actually kind of good.
Next is everyone's favorite porno photographer and ex-baseball player Shinada. Now, in all honesty, I don't really have much to say about Shinada. The reason I place him this low is mostly due to the fact that he doesn't really have any notable feats that I can literally think of. The only feats I can genuinely remember him doing is Daigo and Baba, 2 characters that are not exactly known for their strength. But another reason I think Shinada ranks so low is generally down to the fact that his fighting style as a grappler, it just seems really impractical against characters like Yagami and Akama who can fight at a distance with their kicks. I also feel like he'd get outpowered by the likes of Kiryu and Saejima, and for that, he just ranks here. Tanemura is my next pick. I wasn't exactly sure where to rank Tanemura since he's a little bit different from everyone else. Tanemura is a more technical fighter than everyone else. Rather than relying on pure strength to outpower his opponents, he prefers to wait and then attack them using a good counter attack. A good point to focus on when talking about Tanemura is his final battle, where Tanemura straight up goes against 12 specially trained SWAT members on his own, while being constantly shot at. Now sure, this isn't anything new for the Yakuza series. In fact, Kiryu goes through a similar feat in Yakuza 1 against Jingu and his goons. And large fights in general are nothing new to this series, but I think what makes Tanemura's feat even more impressive is just to come out on top purely due to his skills, and I think a lot of people overlook Tanemura due to his lack of personality compared to the rest of the cast, but genuinely I think he's one of the most skilled fighters in the entire series, and I feel like placing him here is a very justifiable opinion on my behalf. Okay, so this is part of the video that I'm least excited to record because this is the part of the video where I know a lot of people are going to get really hurt because we're getting into fan favorite territory now. But genuinely, as much as it pains me to put him here, Majima is next up. And look, I want to say before we carry on, Majima is strong and he far outclasses Tanemura and everyone who came prior. But when comparing to everybody else who's ahead, I just don't think he compares. Looking at Majima's feats, he surprisingly doesn't have as many as you imagine. His biggest feat comes from Yakuza 0. He defeats the most dangerous assassin in Asia, Lao Gao. At least he is the most dangerous assassin in Asia in the time period of Yakuza 0, sorry, which is definitely an impressive feat. Especially since the dude managed to straight up take out Kiryu like he was Snake from Metal Gear Solid with ease. I also want to bring up that he's also been able to hold his own against fights against Kiryu and Saejima. But technically speaking, you could also make an argument that neither person was going all out due to the circumstances. Besides that though, I don't have any more valid reasons for Majima and why he can't rank any higher than I currently have. He's more so a glorified cameo than a main character in these stories after Yakuza 2, which makes it certainly way more harder to rank him than any of the other characters on this list. So sadly, Majima takes the 5th spot in terms of strength. Everyone's favorite unemployed friend on a Friday afternoon is next up. Sean Akiyama is our next candidate. Now the reason I put Akiyama higher than Majima is for a few reasons. Firstly, compared to everyone else, Akiyama is just a regular dude who gets caught up in Japan's criminal underworld and manages to hold his own against the Yakuza, the Chinese Triad, and corrupt government officials. Furthermore, this guy never genuinely seems to be beat up or bruised in the story. Most protagonists after enduring these huge fights come out all bloody and bruised. Or at least from memory, correct me if I'm wrong, but Akiyama always seems completely fine after these big events. The only time I can actually think of is when he gets shot in Yakuza 6, I believe it is, or something happens to him in Yakuza 6 when we do the raid on the Millennium Tower. But that's the only time I can actually remember Akiyama being physically hurt. And while we're on this topic, he also manages to keep up in terms of strength when it comes to Kiryu. The best example of this is in Yakuza 6, where Kiryu really isn't holding back against Akiyama. He genuinely just manages to hold his own in that fight, which is pretty impressive due to Kiryu's emotions being all over the place in that moment of time. Lastly, Akiyama has a super unique fighting style where he just uses his legs. He's quite similar to Horang in Tekken, if you've ever played the Tekken games. I forgot what his fighting martial arts is called, but yeah, he has a very similar fighting style to Horang, which gives him insane rage that allows him to deal extremely powerful attacks without having to risk getting close to his opponents. This puts him at a better advantage to the other opponents in my personal opinion. The man who should probably be on a watch list, Saejima, is next up. Now I was going to place Saejima in the 2nd place spot, but recently I beat Lost Judgment and my opinion changed, and you'll find out my reasoning out for why Yagami took the 2nd place spot in a moment. But as for now, Saejima is the dude that we're talking about, and Saejima is a fucking tank. He's definitely no joke. This man just is a brute. Like, this man can go face to face with the likes of Ichiban, Majima, Kiryu without any effort at all. But also this guy fucking beat a bear. This dude straight up did a Takamura and fucking uppercutted a bear. This man was throwing hands with fucking Kuma, bro. This dude was throwing hands with a fucking bear. Like, I don't think people I can't even get the words out. If that does not justify his placement more than enough, then I don't know what will. I mean, Saejima is a fucking tank. I mean, I don't know how strong a bear is, but a fucking bear can tear a human in half with just one swipe. So the fact this man could go face to face with a bear and make it out alive is insane. And sure, he didn't knock out the bear or even defeat it with his pure hands, but being able to just straight up, you know, manhandle the bear and like fucking come out alive is insane. But on top of that, he's also managed to escape prison twice with just his bare hands. And if this isn't impressive also, then I don't know what I can do to convince you that Saejima deserves the third place spot. And while I do think Saejima is nowhere near as skilled as the other protagonists in terms of skill, I think his placement on the list is very justifiable due to how extraordinarily strong he is. And that's my entire case for Saejima. I know it was quite short, but genuinely, he's just a fucking brilliant. I mean, you can't beat the dude, you can't beat him. So I think his placement here is very justifiable. Onto our second strongest Like a Dragon protagonist, Yagami from the Yakuza spin-off series, Judgment. Yagami, in my honest opinion, is definitely the second strongest protagonist in the entire series. Yagami, out of all the protagonists, including the big dragon of Dojima himself, is the most skilled fighter in the entire series. Yagami is like if you fused Tanemura and Akama into one character and sprinkled a little bit of rush style in there, you would have Yagami. You know, the end product would be Yagami. This man has so much up his arsenal that if you were to get into a fight with him, it'd be really hard to combat what he's throwing at you. You know, this man has snake style, swan style, I believe it is, mantis style, is it? Boxing style. I don't remember the full name. I don't remember the names for all of them. But he has 4 different fighting styles that are all uniquely different. You know, that can go from being all about counters or being quick jabs, using your fist or just incapacitating people or just kicking straight up, just fucking doing the harangue fighting style, if that makes sense. This dude has a lot in his arsenal. That added, this dude also has insane reflexes. For example, in the first Judgment game, he literally dodges a katana point blank to his face. And also in Lost Judgment, when Soma is in the freezer, I think it is, he literally stabs his knife out of the freezer, and Yagami manages to dodge that knife despite not being able to see it coming at him from anywhere. With these super like strong reflexes and just instincts, is that the right word for it? I feel like Yagami just has an edge over these other characters and really shows that this guy is a really skilled fighter and has a lot going for him in terms of strength and skill and just reflexes. Is that the right word? I don't know if that's the right word, but you understand what I'm trying to go for here. But yeah, in my opinion, I think Yagami easily comes out on top compared to everyone else we've talked about so far. And while I do think Yagami would definitely struggle with almost everybody on this list except Shinada and Ichiban, I do honestly think that he'd come out on top in all these fights that we've already listed. Mostly just because he has, like I said, so much on his arsenal, and that's just before getting into like all the weird shit he can do, like heat actions with his skateboard and jumping off walls and other shit and like spinning off other people. Like I said, this guy has so much of his fucking arsenal that it's really hard to not say that he is not the second strongest character in the entire Like a Dragon franchise. So his placement as second place is justifiable in my opinion.
桐生を自分の中に入れて、私が桐生の中に入って、とにかく超リアルに桐生の人生を表現できたらと思ってます。桐生ってアニメのヒーローと違うので、人間だと思って演じているので。
Which leads us to our number 1 spot, the spot that nobody was surprised about, our strongest protagonist in the entire Like a Dragon series, Mr. Damadane himself, Kiryu Kazuma. Now, do I really need to explain why Kiryu's at the number 1 spot? This man has cheated death more times than Goku. This man has single-handedly fought the entire Yakuza syndicate all by himself when they were armed with weapons, fucking bazookas, and fucking knives and other shit. This dude literally took down the entire Omi Alliance like Madara versus Shinobi Alliance. You know, this man has dodged bullets point blank and missiles. Even with cancer, this man still manages to kick the ass of Daigo, Saejima, Majima, and plus he even beats Akama in his Memoirs of a Dragon sub-story. He literally puts the Daidoji faction back in their place while this man is coughing up blood constantly. You know, Kiryu also manages to fucking grab Ebena's knife at the end of Infinite Well and then fucking slam him to the ground. Kiryu, even in a weakened state, can beat us, can eat us, can fuck you up, man. Kiryu is on just another level. This man is not even human. So without a doubt, Kiryu Kazuma is the strongest protagonist in the entire Like a Dragon franchise, and debatably the strongest human protagonist in fiction that does not have powers, like no stand abilities, no superhuman shit. Like he might just be the strongest the strongest hero, the strongest, what am I trying to say, the strongest human character of all time.